I have the one and only Aviator Cup.
It's one big cup.
Named after a fellow by the name of Lillard Ayler.
I believe that this gun will sell to somebody for $50,000, but I'm open to try to make a deal.
The episode opens with battlefield drama. A seller strides in carrying a Civil War officer's sword. Rick's eyes widen. Seller wants $15,000. I'm spitting out my drink. For one sword, Rick inspects carefully, impressed by the craftsmanship, but cautious. This could be payday glory or wallet carnage, depending on provenance. Cue the suspenseful drum roll as the tension climbs like bayonets at dawn.
It's their sword. Model 1860. Belonged to Colonel Bassett.
This is pretty cool. It was pretty cool.
I'm selling a model 1860 officer's Civil War sword.
Rick calls the arms expert because when in doubt, you bring in the pros. Sean confirms it's authentic and tied to Union cavalry, explaining details about the hilt and blade construction. Value? Around $8,000 to $10,000. Seller deflates. Rick smirks knowingly. Negotiation time. Rick offers $6,000. Seller pushes for $12,000. They duel verbally until settling at $8,500. Seller shrugs. Rick beams, and I'm yelling, "That's how you win a battle without firing a shot." Drama overload right out the gate.
So I'm bringing in the smartest guy I know because he's always got the answers. This is the sword of the colonel that he says was later a general.
Okay, this is the Colonel Bassett that you called me
yes,
about?
that is the guy, Colonel Bassett. I've never heard of him.
Next, medical mayhem. A seller presents a veterinary medicine box from the early 1900s, stuffed with old bottles, powders, and mysterious tonics, and Rick mutters about FDA violations. Seller asks $2,000. Rick inspects, fascinated by the history but skeptical on value, pointing out how risky it is to buy decayed chemicals. I'm here gagging, imagining 100-year-old horse pills being prescribed for humans. Cue the gag reflex and the laughter.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, how are you today?
Good. Whoa, that's different. Humphreys, veterinary
Specifics.
Then comes Olympic spirit. A seller walks in with a 1936 Berlin Olympics pin. Rick's intrigued. Seller wants $5,000. Rick inspects carefully, cautious of reproductions.
What do we have there?
We've got a 1936 Olympic pin from Berlin, Germany.
Where in the world did you find this?
Well, 2-3 years ago, I was playing.
Next up, a seller unloads vintage tin toy robots, complete with bright paint and clunky mechanics. And Chumlee pretends one is his new best friend, giving it a name. Seller wants $1,500. Chumlee inspects the paint, mechanics, and rarity. Chum makes robot noises, and I'm howling. This shop just turned into Lost in Space.
Hey, I got a couple of robots here I'd like to sell.
All right, what do you have here?
Let's see, I got a Colonel Haphazard, 1965 with the box. It's in really good shape. And
Chum calls in Marion, the toy expert. Marion confirms they're authentic mid-century toys, collectible but not pristine due to scratches and worn gears. Value? Around $800 to $1,000. Seller frowns. Chum offers $500. Seller wants $500. They shake hands at $700 after more debate. Seller leaves half happy, Chum smirks, and I'm yelling, "That's one small step for toys, one giant leap for Pawn Stars comedy." It's a deal powered by nostalgia, not batteries.
So I'm getting Johnny down here to check him out before I buy them because I have no clue what they're worth. I know you love tin toys, that's why I called you down here.
Sweet, man.
This one actually says NASA on it.
Yeah, Colonel Haphazard.
Oh, you're familiar with them?
Yeah, dude, that's a classic Marx toy.
Finally, a seller brings in a milk glass lamp from the 1800s. Seller wants $1,000. Rick admires the ornate details but notes cracks, missing glass, and rewired parts. It belongs in Grandma's attic, using it as a disco ball.
Hey, how's it going? We have a lamp.
Yes. It's a milk glass oil lamp made by the Dutch company Royal Zanzara.
Okay, it's what you'd see in Victorian times in the United States. Everything was pretty gaudy back then, and
Rick offers $250. Seller pushes for $700. They settle at $350 after some resistance. Seller sighs, Rick beams, and I'm laughing, "That's a bright idea for a dim lamp." Another Pawn Stars relic for the shelves, and another deal sealed in neon lights of drama.
I found the lamp in an old antique shop. I'd like to sell the lamp because even though it's really cool, it just doesn't have any use for me anymore. I am selling the lamp for $1,300. If I get the full $1,300 for the lamp, then I'm probably gonna take my daughter on a nice vacation.
The episode opens locked and loaded. A seller struts in with a Colt 45 revolver allegedly tied to none other than Jesse James. Rick's eyes widen. Corey leans in. Is that the cowboy from Toy Story? Seller wants $100,000. I'm choking on popcorn. This isn't just a revolver. It's outlaw legend stuffed into 6 chambers. Cue the dramatic music. Profit or pistol whip disaster incoming.
This gun is the gun that killed Jesse James. It's almost like a drum roll moment, isn't it?
Negotiation time. Rick offers $12,000. Seller fires back at $80,000. They volley like it's a high noon duel. Rick pushes to $15,000. Seller won't budge. No deal. Seller storms off with outlaw dreams still holstered. Rick shrugs, Corey smirks, and I'm yelling, talk about shooting yourself in the foot. The outlaw hype fizzled faster than gunpowder in the rain.
Jesse James was the biggest American cowboy.
Next, Hollywood horsepower. A seller rumbles in with a 1951 Chevy owned by Steve McQueen. Rick nearly faints. Corey whistles. Seller wants $60,000. Cue the action movie soundtrack. This isn't just chrome, it's movie star muscle on 4 wheels. Can Rick shift this into high gear?
It is 1951 Chevy convertible Steve McQueen drove in the movie The Hunter.
Rick calls in Danny Coker, car whisperer of Vegas. Danny inspects under the hood, admires McQueen's modifications, and confirms authenticity with paperwork. Value? $50,000 to $60,000. Seller beams. Rick gulps. Negotiation kicks off. Rick offers $40,000. Seller pushes $55,000. After tense back and forth, they shake at $45,000. Rick beams, seller satisfied, and I'm shouting, that's a Hollywood ending with horsepower. Cue the applause.
I'm really glad you guys called me out for this one, man. This is beautiful.
Then comes arcade chaos. A seller rolls in with a Centipede cocktail table arcade from the 1980s, and Chumley instantly claims dibs. Seller wants $2,500. Chumley oars it up, joystick in hand, while Chum yells directions like it's life or death. I'm cracking up. This shop just turned into Chuck E. Cheese. Cue the laugh track.
It is. For being a 1980s cocktail table centipede game, it's in really good shape.
Back to the collectibles. Seller brings in Chew Bop bubblegum records from the 1980s. Yep, vinyl-shaped gum with album art. Rick chuckles. Corey says they're junk. Seller asks $500. Rick's skeptical but amused. I'm screaming, that's music you can chew on. Cue the nostalgic chaos.
Is that like the little album covers that had gum in them?
Absolutely.
The Chevy McQueen deal lingers. Rick proudly shows it off in the lot. Corey teases him about driving like an old man. Cue the Hollywood chase scene. Pawn Stars just went Fast and Furious, Vegas style.
Did you guys buy the car?
Yes, we did.
Oh my God. How much did you pay for it?
$37,000.
The Centipede arcade gets parked in the shop, where Chumley hogs it daily. Corey bans him, Rick threatens to sell it, and Chumley sulks. It's pure sitcom chaos. Customers laugh, employees roll eyes, and I'm dying. Forget pawn shop. It's turned into a retro arcade. Talk about messy.
Where the guys who buy these kinds of cars will show up.
There's auctions coming up, but they're not coming up for months.
The episode kicks off with a literary bang. A seller struts in carrying an 1870s French edition of Jules Verne's 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. Corey leans closer, and Chumley mutters, is that where Aquaman lives? Seller wants $12,000. I nearly drop my popcorn. This isn't just a book. It's adventure, submarines, and science fiction bound in leather. Cue the suspense. Will this treasure surface with value or sink like a stone?
Hey, how you doing? Gentlemen, what do we got here?
What I have is a first American edition of Jules Verne, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. This is the first one that was printed in the United States. It was printed in Boston.
So this is the book with Moby Dick in it, right?
Corey flips through the pages, noting engravings and original French text. Seller insists it's a first edition. Corey isn't convinced and calls in Rebecca, the book expert. Rebecca examines the binding, the print style, and dates. She confirms it's indeed authentic and rare, but not the very first print. Value? Around $8,000 to $9,000. Seller's hopeful smile deflates. Rick smirks, and I'm screaming, cue the underwater disappointment.
I know these things can be really valuable, but he's had it restored, so I don't really know how to price it. Now we're taking it to Rebecca for an expert's opinion.
20,000 leagues is about 69,000 miles. A lot of people think that that means depth, that you're going down 20,000 leagues. That's not physically possible.
Negotiation time. Corey starts low at $6,000. Seller shoots back at $11,000. They haggle like pirates fighting over buried treasure. Finally, they shake hands at $7,500. Seller walks away satisfied, Corey beams, and I'm clapping. Literary history just got pawned. Talk about turning submarines into submarine sandwiches of profit. Chumley mutters he'll watch the movie instead. Comedy gold.
I'll tell you what, I'll give you $7,500 for it.
75, I think, is too low. I think my number is still 10.
I've got to make more than $2,000 off it. It's going to take me a while to sell. I'll give you $8,500 for it.
Next, we dive into everyday oddities. A seller waltzes in with an antique corkscrew collection. Finally, something for my root beer. Seller wants $1,000 for the set. Rick picks one up, admiring the ornate designs, explaining how they were once status symbols. I'm howling. Imagine flexing on your neighbors with fancy wine openers. Talk about first world problems, 1800s style.
Hey, what do you got here?
Hey man, I got this antique corkscrew. I'd like to sell it to you.
Are we gonna open a bottle or something?
We can.
Back to the action. A seller rolls in with Metallica memorabilia, including a signed set list and photos from a 1980s concert. Corey nods and Chumley shouts, seller wants $5,000. Rick inspects, intrigued but skeptical. Cue the guitar riffs. This could either rock the bank or crash harder than a mosh pit.
So what do we got here?
It is one-of-a-kind memorabilia from the biggest metal band ever.
Whitesnake?
Motorhead?
Close.
Bon Jovi.
No, you didn't just say that. No. I have a jacket.
The episode closes with Rick proudly displaying the Jules Verne book, Corey laughing at the corkscrews, and Chumley headbanging with the Metallica memorabilia. From submarines to screw tops, rock legends to ruined riffs, this episode packed history, hilarity, and high-voltage drama. Drama at its finest, folks.
I just wanted to practice.
I'm at the pawn shop with my two old bosses.
Ever since the guys found out I was taking guitar lessons, they will not get off my case.
The episode kicks off with war-torn relics. A seller strolls in carrying a World War I AOR Cup, a ceremonial award given to aviators. Rick's eyes brighten. Corey leans in, and Chumley blurts, "Is that like a cereal bowl?" Seller wants $15,000. I nearly choke. This isn't breakfast. It's battlefield prestige cast in silver. Rick admires the detail, but knows the difference between history and hype. Cue the suspenseful drum roll, folks.
This was given to some dude named Joseph of Battery D in 1930 for good horsemanship.
Next, the Fab Four take the spotlight. A seller walks in with a guitar allegedly signed by all four Beatles. Rick nearly faints. Corey mutters about Beatlemania, and Chumley yells, "Yellow Submarine!" Seller wants $100,000. My jaw hits the floor. That's not just a guitar, it's British Invasion in 6 strings. Will this score strike a chord or end in a sour note?
What we got here is a Sunburst guitar and Ringo's signature, George Harrison's signature.
Rick calls in Jesse, the music guru. Jesse inspects the signatures, analyzing ink flow, handwriting, and wear. Verdict? Authentic Beatles signatures, but added years apart, not all at once. Value? Around $60,000 to $70,000. Seller looks deflated. Rick smirks knowingly. Negotiation heats up. Rick offers $40,000. Seller won't budge below $85,000. No deal. Seller storms off, dreams of Liverpool riches dashed. I'm yelling, "That's not help, that's heartbreak."
So what were you doing at the Playboy Mansion?
Well, I really can't say.
I don't want to know then.
Back to the Beatles mania. The seller returns with a signed Sgt Pepper's album cover. Rick gasps. Seller wants $30,000. Rick calls Jesse back in. I'm bracing for either Beatle cash or Beatle crash.
Because if it was actually one of Paul McCartney's guitars, it makes it worth a fortune.
I like to hear that.
I mean, just lending alone is something pretty cool.
Jesse inspects carefully, confirming signatures are real but faded. Value, around $20,000. Seller frowns. Rick offers $15,000. Seller demands $25,000. After heated back and forth, they shake at $18,000. Seller smiles, Rick beams, and I'm screaming, "That's a ticket to ride." Straight to the bank. Drama and Beatles go hand in hand.
Sir Paul, awesome. So what are your concerns with this one?
I was just wondering if there's any way to tell if it was actually played by Paul. I mean, she got appraised for $25,000.
Meanwhile, the old man has his own subplot. He spends downtime obsessing over puzzles and bingo. Rick teases, Corey laughs, and Chumley tries to join in, making everything worse. The old man mutters about idiots, I'm wheezing. Pawn Stars just became a senior center sitcom. Pure comedy gold.
And I've got a hobby for him that all old people love.
Back to big-ticket Beatles. A seller presents a Hofner Bass signed by Paul McCartney. Rick nearly faints. Corey beams. Chumley whispers, "Isn't that the violin guitar?" Seller wants $50,000. Rick inspects. Skeptical, but hopeful. Cue the dramatic build. This could be Beatle jackpot or fake-out disaster.
This bass is strung right-handed, it's set up right-handed. I mean, they didn't even take the little packing felt that they put underneath the bridge off of it. So it was probably...
Rick calls Jesse once more. Jesse examines and confirms authenticity, valuing it at $30,000 to $35,000. Seller frowns. Rick offers $20,000. Seller demands $45,000. They haggle furiously, finally landing at $28,000. Seller shrugs, Rick beams, and I'm yelling, "That's a baseline straight to profit." My popcorn's gone, and so is the tension. Pure Pawn Stars drama.
So what are you looking to get out of it?
I need to get 20 grand.
It's a nice bike, man, but we're looking around 8.
Meanwhile, Corey's buddy returns trying to pawn artwork, asking way too much again. Corey rejects him. Rick scolds. Chumley cracks jokes. The buddy storms out, Corey shrugs, and I'm howling. Pawn Stars just turned into Friends, Pawn Edition. Comedy chaos everywhere.
No, the condo came turnkey with the art in it and stuff, but I'm not crazy about that art.
This is cool. This is a good art, man. That's a local artist, too.
The old man subplot hits again. He buys bird feeders and insists on filling them outside the shop. Corey grumbles, Chumley cheers, Rick facepalms. Customers stare, birds scatter, and I'm screaming. This isn't Pawn Stars, it's Animal Planet, comedy overload.
I know how to fix a damn puzzle, Chumley.
Just give it a try. Maybe you'll enjoy it.
I'll try, but I ain't gonna like it.
Okay.
The episode closes with Rick proudly holding Beatles memorabilia, Corey bragging about his buddy's failed pawns, and Chumley humming "Hey Jude." The old man mutters about idiots, feeding his birds in the corner. From wartime cups to Beatles autographs, motorcycles to birdseed, this episode mixed history, hilarity, and Beatlemania chaos. Drama at its finest, folks.
This has got to be one of the hardest puzzles I've ever done. We want to find the old man a hobby, but surprise, surprise.
The episode opens with a mystery gadget. A seller strolls in with what he swears is a Victorian-era cuff holder. Rick inspects with curiosity. Corey looks confused, and Chumley blurts, "Is that a steampunk stapler?" Seller wants $1,000. I almost spit out my drink. Rick's cautious but intrigued. It could be genius or junk. Cue the suspenseful drum roll. Will this relic cuff up profits or leave Rick shackled in regret?
So now you're worried about what I might do later on.
What you will do later on.
Whatever, we'll make it up somehow. All right, come on, chump. Gotta go.
Next, an art twist. A seller brings in a Jim Daly oil painting. Rick perks up, Corey mutters it looks like kids playing in the dirt, and Chumley asks if it's Bob Ross. Seller wants $10,000. Rick calls in Brett, the art appraiser. Suspense builds. Will this be fine art fortune or finger painting flop?
It's a Jim Daly painting.
That's really, really cool. You know, my dad lost like 40 or 50 pounds and grew a mustache. He'd look a lot like that probably.
Brett inspects, confirming authenticity, but notes Daly's work isn't top-tier pricey. Value? Around $4,000 to $5,000. Seller frowns. Rick smirks knowingly. Negotiation time. Rick offers $3,000. Seller demands $9,000. They volley like Wimbledon pros until settling at $3,800. Seller shrugs, Rick beams, and I'm yelling, "That's one way to draw profits." Drama in oil and canvas, baby.
Now, do you know much about Jim Daly? Not really. Okay, Jim's a contemporary artist. I think he's still living and painting. He really concentrated a lot on...
Back to creepy collectibles. A seller rolls in with a 19th century baby stroller. It looks like it belongs in a horror movie. Rick inspects, and Chumley mutters, "That thing's possessed." Seller wants $2,500. I'm clutching my seat. This could be spooky treasure or straight nightmare fuel.
This is an 1800 stroller.
Okay. You sure it's not a really old rickshaw for a small person?
Meanwhile, Corey shows up in a clam chowder-stained shirt. Rick roasts him. Chumley takes photos, and customers giggle. Corey mutters about food sabotage. Rick shakes his head. Pawn Stars just became a Vegas diner comedy, and I can't breathe.
Put the shirt on, Corey.
I'm not wearing the shirt.
You got a choice. Either wear the stinky shirt or wear this.
Your choice.
Back to biker mayhem. A seller rolls up with a rat bike, cobbled together from spare parts and rust. Corey's intrigued. Did this come out of Mad Max? Seller wants $7,000. Cue the roaring suspense. Junkyard disaster or rebel ride payday.
This is my hardtail bobber rat bike. I would be willing to bet a couple of $1,000 is faster than anything you've ridden.
The creepy stroller resurfaces. Rick parks it in the shop and customers recoil. Corey mutters about nightmares. Chumley pushes it around making ghost noises, and Rick insists it's history. I'm screaming, that's Annabelle on wheels! Comedy and horror rolled into one.
The first baby strollers came out in England in the early 1800s. Old strollers can be really collectible, but this one is definitely a mystery.
The episode closes with Rick bragging about scoring the art and rat bike, Corey grumbling about bruises, and Chumley pushing the haunted stroller straight toward terrified customers. From gambling gadgets to creepy strollers, bruised paintballers to rat bikes, this episode was chaos, comedy, and Pawn Stars pandemonium. Drama at its finest, folks.
I'm out. See you guys tomorrow.